We are all universes unto ourselves, vastly, vastly different from one another. We seem to have certain similarities, certain universalities that allow us to imagine that we are somewhat alike. But mostly, we are deeply other to one another, almost unknowable on some level, and in some ways, almost unknowable to ourselves. What happens is that we find certain repetitive patterns that begin to feel like us, certain historical experiences, certain senses of what evolves into an identity. And we feel, this must be who I am. In the vastness of our infinite nature, these are tiny little microscopic cohesions that make us feel like something, like someone. Things we call memory, things that happen when we're very small that start to add up to something, like I am safe, I'm not safe. I like this, I don't like that. I love that. These things start to weave kind of patterns, and we start to feel, feeling being a very important word, we begin to feel like something. And we start to bring certain universal chords into our life, like something called mother and father, sister, brother, grandparents, cousins, uncles, aunts, friends, start to weave into the picture. And every one of them comes in with a certain amount of affection, attachment, like, dislike, hate, aversion, all based on something that we are feeling in ourselves about who we are. And we start to patternize those feelings so that when we see a certain person in our life, we go, ooh. And if we see someone who looks like them, who has the same name, who has a smell that seems familiar, we go, nope, nope. And we evolve this persona. And it's really interesting because you can live in a family with brothers and sisters who live in the exact same environment, same impulses every day, and they weave a completely different picture, completely different understanding of what their universe is. And you can't imagine that would be true because we had the same mother, we had the same father, we had the same house, we had the same almost everything. We ate off the same dishes. How can we be so other? And the reason we can be so other is because of the vastness of the structure in which we find ourselves and the incredible uniqueness of our being. Nothing like our being has ever, ever, ever existed before. Nothing. And the only way to know your being is to go on an adventure or a journey or an exploration into who and what you are. What is this thing that is sitting here, smelling, tasting, feeling, running from, reaching for, wanting, fearing stuff? Who is this? How did I get here? Why am I this? And of course, one of the things that you will start to discover is people will tell you, this is who you are, this is why you are, this is why you're what you think you are, this is what you're like. They will give you a whole kind of a menu to choose from, and they'll say, well, you're like this and you're like that, and you always did this and you never liked that, and da-da-da. And you form this locked in, oh, I get it, this is who I am. I am this person. I am this male or female or something in between. I like these things, and I hate these things, and they become locked in. You know, my brother tasted coffee when he was 4 and decided he didn't like it and has never, ever again allowed himself to taste coffee. My mother did that with cheese. I go, Mom, cheese is so good. There's so many kinds of cheese. There's so many variables. Nope. No cheese. And we all do those things with each other. We all find that we are, in a sense, vastly other than each other, and yet here we are together in an incredible need to be with each other. It's hard to say why that happened. Why did we come into formation? Why do we need each other? Big questions, good part of the exploration, but we do. We need our mothers and fathers for a long time when we're little, and if they fail us or they disappear from us, they change the equation dramatically. We need support, we need help, we need guidance, we need love, we need everything, and we get it in varying measures, and we respond to it in different ways. And what happens is we become this phenomenally isolated, unknown reality that has certain identities in itself that thinks it's what it is, and then it's looking for someone to know it and love it. How do I find someone who will appreciate who I am? Even the I am I don't know. How do I find somebody? And we start to find these little tiny pinpricks of identity that match up with other people. We both like strawberry ice cream. We both like Alanis Morissette. We both like this movie. Whatever it is, these tiny little things, and we go, oh, they're like me. We are like each other. We could be friends. We have the same ideas about life in the universe. We are connected. And you feel reinforced by that. You feel so good about that. I have a comrade in arms in this incredible journey through this unknown space. And the two of you can link up as friends, as lovers, as brothers and sisters. You come together because out of the 500 trillion zillion possible elements that you are, 12 of those are like somebody else. And you are really thrilled by that. You're thrilled by it. And then one day you discover that many of the other trillions of elements are not like you at all in the other person. You are vastly different. You don't have a clue to who each other are. You don't have a clue. You thought you knew them. You thought they knew you. No, nothing. Nothing even close, except for the strawberry ice cream and the Alanis Morissette. And you can begin to wonder, what am I doing? Why am I connecting to this person? Where is the commonality? Where is the stuff of human exchange, of dialogue, of recognition, of acknowledgement? Where is it? All of this stuff is outer directed. All of this stuff is part of the experience of being alive and looking at the universe that exists out there. It's not enough. We know it's not enough. But we don't know what to do about it. And we don't live in a society or a culture that says there's another path. So if the outer world isn't working for you, you got a problem. You got to find a therapist. You got to find a drug. You got to find an alcohol. You've got to find a pleasure zone. You've got to find something to make it line up and work for you. And what we're all looking for, really, is something you might call equilibrium, stasis, comfort, ease, pleasure, joy. And the one thing we discover about the world, although it took me a long time to discover it, was it is inconsistent. It keeps changing. So everything you think you have found doesn't last. I used to wonder when I was about 14, why can't I hold on to happiness? I had it. I had it yesterday. I woke up, I was filling the room. I was so happy. Why did it go away? Where did it go? How did that happen? What did I do wrong? What can I do to get it back? How can I change my life to make happiness permanent? It took me a long time to understand that there is no permanence. It is all, in Buddhist terms, impermanent. Everything, impermanent. Not only is it impermanent, but everything we want out there that we think is going to finally give us the thing we're looking for is in constant motion and change and doesn't know what it is. And we're connecting with the not knowing, and we're all approximating this idea of connectivity and relationship, but it's unsatisfying. Somewhere along the way, you say to yourself, I need help. Please help me. This isn't working. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. Somebody may give you a joint and say, light up and see what happens. You know, you may have some experience walking down the street where for a 20th of a second, the entire universe explodes in your head. You may, in the despair of grief and sadness that you can go through, or depression, find yourself at the bottom of a hole that's so deep that it opens up to the infinite. That can happen. That's kind of how life works. There's also this thing called meditation, or sitting still, which is always what I come to, and every time I talk to you guys. There's something about going in as opposed to going out. Looking for something within rather than something out there, which has not worked for you in all of these decades of life. Going in is really interesting. First of all, that there is an in. And you know there's an in because you experience the in by feeling. You feel your way in to yourself. You can feel it. You even occasionally can think it. You can get to these very quiet places of clarity, of knowing. Not verbalized knowing, just and the feeling, and it goes deep. And then there's this really powerful intuitive thing that happens kind of around your gut that sort of says this way and not that way. That sort of says do it. Go for one more block in your run. Go for one more mile. Do this thing that's going to push you and grow you and develop you. There are these forces inside. And so as you start to feel them, you have a sense that there's an inner life. You may not like it. A lot of the inner life is very disturbing. More feeling than you want. Fear. Something wakes up in you that goes, you're impermanent. You're going to die. And where do you go with that? Certainly, you don't want to go back into the feeling, so you run back out into the world, and that doesn't help you. The answer is sit quietly, start to go deep, and then what you discover, which is really interesting, is a kind of inner expansion that takes you into a place that is connected to all there is, that is connected to everyone, that is connected to being itself. You start to feel your way in quietly, and if you stop trusting your fear and trusting your mind and trusting all of these things that want to pull you back out, if you just go, no, give me another 5 minutes. You just sit. You start to find something speaking to you from within. And it's really interesting because you start to feel a vastness of your own universe, and you start to see other people as part of it, and you start to see what you might call the 1,000 points of light. They're reflecting not just strawberry ice cream, they're reflecting all of these things within themselves that are within you. And the deeper you go inside and you look at the people around you, you go, we're more alike than not alike. We are on this journey together. I am not alone in this vast unknown space. I am connected to something really, really big. And that connection is bigger than I thought. It's more infinite, eternal than I thought. And it is totally dependent on and connected to the entirety of it, rather than to you alone fighting or frightened or swimming through the depths of being. You begin to connect with yourself, which is a doorway to the other, the back door, if you will, to the other. And you start to see that together, real love, connectivity, joy, beauty, knowing can start to occur. You can begin to experience oneness, but you may also just begin to appreciate otherness. You may begin to look at another person and go, they are infinitely other than I. And you look into their eyes and you appreciate that they are unknowable on some level, but they are lovable. They are part of the deep unknowability of who you are. They are a manifestation of your own truth. And as you start to see those sparkling points of light in the other, you feel them in yourself. And it's not just ice cream and Alanis Morissette, it's everything. It's all these things are going connect, 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 connect. And there's this incredible sense of singularness, oneness, connection with another being. And when you start to really feel that, when I sit as a teacher, and I sit with you guys, my universe of being aligns itself with your universe. It aligns itself. And it's, some of us call it energy, but it's beyond just energy. It's everything. It's a knowing. And you see this thing, and I can look at you and I can see where you're trembling, where you're looking the other way, where you're afraid, where you're uncertain, where you don't know what to do. And I can reach out in all these different ways, and I can go, it's okay. It's okay. And I can touch things in you because I've been sitting for 50 years like this. Maybe 50 billion lifetimes, I don't know. But I can feel the universe that you are, and I can begin to intersect with it and connect in a way that is full of love. Really love, that's all it is. Love means attraction, connection, oneness, wholeness, beauty, honesty, simplicity. All of these things start to happen in the alignment, and something remarkable takes place, because if you trust that, your universe starts to go, it shifts. It shifts into something that is allowing another other unknown to align. And when all these alignments start to take place, you cease to be a separate otherness. You begin to be the self that you have always been. This is a self that starts to know itself as energy, if you will, as emotional connection with another person, as a living, breathing entity, and it's also pure energy. Pure energy. It's all of the above, and it is so remarkable. It is so vast and real and connectable, and what you've been looking for your whole life, and the doorway was always in. If you go into the doorway, you find yourself. If you go out, you see yourself, but you'll be lost. You will not know what you're looking at. You'll just see something that is conflicted, confused, and has no idea how to come together, and will do its best, because we all try to do our best. We all try to be nice to each other, is often the case. We try to help one another. We try to be good. But it's all an external thing. When it opens on the inside and wraps around to the outside, it becomes full-bodied embrace. It becomes, I am one with you. We are one with one another. We are this. We are this manifested and we are this unmanifested truth simultaneously. We are this one thing. We don't know what it is necessarily, but if we can hold hands and give up knowing, We won't have to be able to intellectualize it. We won't have to be able to turn it into anything other than maybe poetry and song. We cannot know this thing that we are. We cannot know it. There's no mechanism. Collectively, maybe we can begin to see deeper into it. We can intuit it. We can share it. We can sing about how little we really know. But ultimately, the sharedness of it is everything. It's the beauty of it. That we are not in it alone, except perhaps in the fact that we are one thing. But we can reach out, support, connect, energize, help each other, or we can do the opposite, which is what is often the case. We can create drama, we can create tension, we can create hatred, we can create suffering, we can do all these things for one another. We can blow people up. Incredible what we're capable of. But we're capable of this. We're capable of this energetic oneness. We're capable of multifaceted universes coming together, opening up, recognizing each other, finding more than 4 points or 12 points of connection, millions of points of connection, and feeling we're in this together, let's do this together, let's love each other, let's make this journey something remarkable. And that's what we're here for. I don't see a lot of people doing that, but enough. And I definitely see you guys doing it. And so here we are on this ride, on this remarkable ride, and what we're trying to do is do it better, more openly, more lovingly, more joyously than we might have otherwise. So find this path to the door. Knock, and it shall be opened. Seek, and ye shall find. Ask, and it shall be revealed. Not hard. It's not hard. It seems hard, but it's not hard. It just takes determination. It takes, going that one extra mile is what it takes. I went for a long walk this morning, and I thought, well, I should cut it short because I got to teach today. And something else said, you can do both. So I didn't cut it short. I just kept walking, and it tired me out a little bit. But I got back, and I was a little tired when I sat down. And then I saw you guys, and energy. The energy of you was the energy of me, of us, and it just worked. It just works. That's how it works. We do it for each other. We're all ultimately alone and totally connected. And that's the truth. There's no way to get what that means. Just know it. And for every opportunity you have, reach out, connect, love, be grateful, help, share your being openly, honestly, share your truth, and live it. And you will have this extraordinary, remarkable, expanding, beautiful, universal love and experience of being. Any questions?
Just what you were talking about reminded me of my mother who had dementia. And she was very particular about things that she did and ate and things like that. And when she had dementia, she forgot that she liked or disliked things. So everything was new, and she liked all kinds of things that she would never have chosen before. And so that was amazing to me. And what I learned from that too was with dementia, she was always there in the moment because she couldn't remember what was past or what, so she was always there. And it was an incredible gift to be able to be part of that with her.
I honestly think spiritual awakening is a kind of premature dementia. Because the past is like no interest to me at all. Future is, I can't even think that far ahead. Tomorrow's a problem for me. This moment is so vibrant and real and unfolding, and it's so explorational. Every moment is becoming a universe of understanding, a new possibility every day. So I ask myself, is this Alzheimer's? Is this premature Alzheimer's or dementia? Or is this what it means to be? Is Alzheimer's itself and dementia actually a kind of awakening? Is it a kind of arriving at now and making everybody else uncomfortable? Because you don't remember me? I'm your son, I'm your daughter, and they don't remember you because that was 1 billion years ago, They know you. They know
Yes.
you. They look at you and I love you, but I don't know who you are. I
Right.
love you, and that's exactly what happens here. I love every one of you. And I sit with you. I don't know who you are. And I don't know your stories in many cases, nor do I care on some level. I mean, I love you, but can you imagine being loved without your story? Most of us want to be loved for our story. But the real love is without the story. Because your story just gets in the way. Real love is just your being. And what I get to look at with all of you is this being. That's all I care about. Story is interesting. I don't want to deny its meaning, and for me as a screenwriter, God knows story is kind of everything. Narrative is everything, but it's nothing. It's nothing. Now I can barely watch movies because they don't have anything to tell me. I don't care what your story is. I don't care what you learned. What are you going to learn in life? Love is real. What are you going to learn? Forgive your enemies. What are you going to learn? Be a good person. Be courageous. All stories are the same stories, the ones that uplift you and tell you about life. I know those stories. I know all those stories inside. I don't really need to see it unless somebody is so poetically evolved that they find a way to tell it that I would never have imagined before. The great literature, the great stories do that. But most of them are just, keep you busy and distracted for a little bit. When you start to awaken, when dementia takes full force, you don't care about any of that. You really don't care. I walked outside this morning and this flower was like right there in front of me. And I didn't even name it as a flower. I just said, and thank you. I don't, it was like I wasn't even a person. I was just something that saw beauty that just erupted right in my field of vision. And all I could say was thank you. I didn't go, oh, a flower bloomed, because that would just turn it into like nothing. A flower bloomed as a thought, an idea. This wasn't a thought or an idea. A flower, this living, beautiful, really beautiful thing was sitting there in front of me, just like saying hi. And a part of me wanted to pull out my camera and take a picture. And I said, no, don't interrupt the truth of that. And I just kept walking, and it just lived with me. It's still here. Once you get into the moment, past and future are so insignificant. And when you look into other people's universes, what you see is what's lighting up in them is past and future. You're looking into people, oh, this happened to me. Oh, that's going to happen. Oh, I don't want that to happen. Oh, that's what's going on. And you find it really hard to get to the simple immediacy of that human being. It's really hard. And yet that's what I try to do. I sit down and I look at all I can see when you're in your head and talking and thinking and going on, and I just work to help bring the energy out of the head, out of the ego chakras in your throat and into your heart or into your belly, and to open it up and get it quiet. And then when you get there, because something has quietly, invisibly led you to that space, you go, oh. And then most of you stay there. You go, oh. And some of you already are there. You've brought yourself there without any help at all. And then I just go in there and we just hug. Beautiful. Hi. Yeah. Strawberry ice cream. And we're all having the greatest, sweetest time imaginable. And it's enough. It's really enough. It's what we're here for. And we're here to see and be seen and to let ourselves be touched by another person and maybe by the world. Any other questions? Okie dokie. Onward.